Hello everyone, this is Taylor back again with another video. On this video, I would like to talk about how to pitch to an investor. So if you're a business trying to seek money from an investor, I want to talk to you guys about what it takes to pitch to an investor and what an investor is looking for when they're watching you pitch to them. So last week I actually attended an event where people were able to come up, talk about their companies, and pitch to investors with the possibility of having the investor invest in their business. So since I was able to attend the event, and I also did some research on my own, I want to explain to you guys just some tips for when you're investing. The first tip I would say is to be respectful of the time. So that if the time is 10 minutes, don't go over the time. Be respectful of the time. Another piece of advice I would give is to tell a story. Don't be so caught up in the facts that you forget to tell the true story of why you even started the company. There's a saying that says, stories sell, facts tell, so make sure you're telling a story. Another thing is to get to the point. So explain exactly what it is that your product or service is. Get to the point and make it fast. You don't want the investor to sit there for 5 minutes wondering what your company even does. Another really important thing is to definitely have a target audience or a market. Know what your niche is and make sure that you explain that to your investors, because they definitely want to make sure you know who your target audience is. Something that's also very important is to have a competitive advantage and to explain to your investor what your competitive advantage is. If you are doing something, chances are there are other companies that have done the same thing. So what is it that makes you different and better than your competitors? Also, have a marketing plan. So now that you know who your market is, how do you plan to sell to that market? You know, how do you plan on getting customers? Because it doesn't matter how great your product or service is, if you don't have customers and you aren't making money, then what is the point, right? Especially to investors, because it's not about whether or not they like you, it's about whether or not you can make them money. And that leads me to my next piece of advice is to show the revenue projections or financial projections. They want to know how much revenue you project to make in the next year, 5 years, 10 years. Because like I said before, you know, if they're investing in you, they want to make sure they are making a profit, and they want to make sure that they're not just getting a little bit money back, but that they can actually get rich off of your product or your service. You know, that's a whole goal. Another piece of advice is be enthusiastic. So when you're talking about your company, don't just talk like this and be monotone and boring. Make people interested in what you have to say. Also, dress well, dress to kill. Don't believe the hype that Silicon Valley is just jeans or sweats. Definitely dress nice. Wear a nice suit. Ladies can wear, you know, a nice dress and a nice blazer. You know, do your hair and makeup, ladies. Dress to kill and, you know, dress to impress. That's very important. Also, practice your pitch before you deliver it. Practice it in the mirror. Watch your facial expressions. Make sure you aren't saying and like. Also, anticipate questions that the investor may ask, because most likely afterwards they'll have questions. So make sure you're prepared for those questions and practice answering those questions as well. And also something very, very important is have an exit strategy. So an exit strategy is basically what you plan on doing afterwards, whether it's having an IPO and going public, having an acquisition, having another company acquire your company, licensing. So, you know, licensing your idea out to a manufacturing company. You need to have an exit strategy. And this is one of the most important things for an investor. An investor won't even waste their time if you don't at least have some type of exit strategy. So you guys, as I said earlier in the video, I did attend a pitch event last week. So I just want to show you a short snippet of one of the pitches that I saw.
Somebody else's patents before it goes to market. That's the FTO, or freedom to operate for the clearance process. So what we've done is basically bring SaaS, a cloud-based platform for managing that process. It is already one of the biggest frustrations and inefficient processes that in-house counsel deals with. So we're looking to alleviate that problem with a new system to make things a lot easier.
Now that you've seen a short snippet of one of the pitches from last week, I just want to show you a snippet of the investors and their questions and comments that they had after the pitch.
Because investors just want to know, if I give you this much, you're going to turn it into this much. The other thing is, I think I saw $6 million year 3 revenue projection. That's far, far too low to support an investment at a seed stage of the 750 and have the potential to give the return that category.
So the investor in this video was basically just saying that if you get an investor, he wants to know that with this amount of money he's giving you, how much money will you then turn that money into, which goes hand in hand with financial projections and revenue projections. And he also was saying that $6 million is too low in terms of a revenue projection, especially if the investor is giving you initially $750,000. Because as I said before, these investors want to get rich, they want to get wealthy, and they don't want just a small return on their investment. So $6 million may seem a lot to us, but for 3 years of investing that $750,000, they want to see a much higher number than $6 million. So you guys, I hope you enjoyed that video of the investor giving questions and comments, and I have one more video that I would like to show you, just another snippet of an investor giving some questions and comments at the pitch event.
In the right ballpark. Your raise will be a lot easier if you can go demonstrate a couple reference customers. Yeah. You're in a tricky place because you've built your product. It's all ready to go. It's not that you're saying to somebody, I need to raise $500K to finish development so I can get to the place to start selling it. You're to this place where a lot of them are going to say, oh, well, you're right there. Just go show me you can sell a few and then come back to me. So if you can get a couple reference customers, it will dramatically make it much easier. Generals on the pitch, and a couple other people did this. Don't start with a question. It just throws everybody off. It puts, especially if you're talking to investors, it puts them on the defensive. They're, instead of trying to digest information, they're trying to answer your question. It's not a good way to start. Don't say you have no competition, even if you really don't. Make some up, because people will interpret that as you don't know the market. And then get down to it pretty quickly. The reason, and this isn't to pick on you, but everybody is running out of time, is you're just not getting down to it, which is, here's the problem some customer has, there's this many of them, we solve it this way, here's the competition, here's how we distribute it to them, here's how we make money, and here's how much we'll make, please give us this. You can do all that in 3 minutes for your business.
So in this video, the investor gave a few pointers. One pointer is definitely to get reference customers. So reference customers are basically customers that are happy with your product or service and will refer your service to their friends and family. Another piece of advice that he gave is to not start with a question. Now, a lot of people, when they pitch, they want to start with a question, and this investor is saying to not do that. Something else he said is to never say you don't have competition, even if you feel like your product or service is so innovative and creative and there is no competition. Dig deep and think of some type of competition. Also, the really important thing that he said at the end is to show that there is a problem. What is that problem? How does your product or service plan to solve that problem? And then how are you going to get customers and make money? So those are some of the 3 most important things in terms of getting an investor. So you guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It does talk about how to pitch an investor, what investors are looking for. So I really hope that you got a lot of information out of it, and stay tuned for next week.